Minecraft Minigames, a major component to Minecraft's success as a game/social platform, as well as a source of many a YouTuber's fame. If you were at all into Minecraft during its initial peak back in the early 2010s, you're probably well aware of fan favorites such as Hunger Games, Hide and Seek, Murder, and many others. It turns out that 4J Studios, the developers behind the legacy console editions of Minecraft, were also well aware of the popularity of minigames, as in the summer of 2016, they began to bring minigames to their version of the game. In total, there were 3 official minigames created by 4J Studios. But were these minigames any good? That's what I aim to find out. Hello everybody, Richard Roque here, and today we're going to be diving into the legacy console version of Minecraft in order to check out 4J's minigames and see if they're any good. Sit back and enjoy. Battle was the first of 3 minigames to be added, with it releasing on June 16, 2016. This game was heavily inspired by the Hunger Games minigame, which was fairly popular at the time. In this minigame, players spawn into an arena in which they must run around the map and gather armor, weapons, and other items to aid in their bid to be the last man standing. During a match, chests will randomly refill with more items that can range from consumables like food and potions to better armor and gear that isn't available during the start of the game, providing players with the resources that they need in order to outlive and outsmart their opponents. While I'm not very good at PvP in Minecraft, as you might be able to tell by looking at the footage, I have to say that this is easily my favorite minigame out of the 3, primarily due to how fast-paced and frantic the game mode is, with no 2 rounds playing out exactly the same. Another reason why this game mode is as fun as it is because of the extremely well designed and interesting maps that will actually scale in size depending on how many people you're playing the game with. My favorite map is easily Shrunk, due to its use of the plastic texture pack, Toy Story-esque setting, and the absolute bop of a song that plays during matches on the map. Granted, the gameplay you're seeing isn't mine, because Mojang thought that would be funny to not release any of the DLC maps, besides Valley, for the Nintendo Switch Edition. First they don't put most of the DLC maps on Switch, then they replace it with friggin' Bedrock Edition. Anyway, regardless of Mojang's poor decision making, Battle is just as good as its movie-inspired older brother popularized by the YouTube space. Next up on the docket, we have Tumble. Added to the game at the tail end of August 2016, Tumble, like Battle, is based on a popular minigame, the minigame in question being Spleef. In this minigame, the main objective of the game is to destroy blocks beneath your opponent's feet using a variety of items, such as snowballs and shovels, causing them to hopefully fall out of the arena, leaving you to be the last man standing. Now, if I'm being honest with you guys, I don't really have that much to say about Tumble, as there isn't nearly as much to talk about this minigame as the others. Although I will give it kudos for having randomly generated layers, as well as a whole smorgasbord of options that allow you to customize your games as you see fit. This really adds a whole lot of replay value to this mode that Battle and Glide lack, although it does come at the sacrifice of the memorability that the other modes have, due to their pre-made environments. Before we move on to Glide, I just want to take a second to talk about the music for these minigames. Unlike the main game's original soundtrack, which was composed by C418, the OSTs for the minigames were composed by Gareth Coker, who you may know for his work on the Ori games. Or, if you're like me, you'll know him for his work on Darksiders Genesis, specifically the credits theme, which is quite literally just perfection in song form. Anyways, while his music doesn't really fit with the vibes that the base game soundtrack gives off, it is still fantastic nonetheless. I really love the tense themes for Battle. The fun upbeat melodies for Tumble. And the whimsical yet competitive sound that's given to Glide. And besides, in a way it does make sense that the minigame music feels separate from the base game soundtrack, as the minigames are separate entities from the main game. Now that I'm finished with going on a musical tangent, it's time to talk about the final minigame, Glide. Added to the game at the end of March in 2017, Glide tasks players with donning a pair of elytra wings to navigate perilous courses and reach the finish line in one piece. Scattered around the tracks are vents which can be used to gain altitude and speed pads to catch up to and overtake opponents. There are also shortcuts and alternate routes aplenty that can be taken advantage of to gain the upper hand in a race. Speaking of races, let's talk about both of the game modes included. First up, we have Time Attack. This is your standard racing mode in which players compete to see who can cross the finish line first. As to why they call it Time Attack instead of Race, I have absolutely no idea. The other game mode that we have here is Score Attack. In Score Attack, players fly through colored rings worth varying amounts of points as they try to rack up the most points before they cross the finish line. Whoever has the most points wins the game. It is also good to note that unlike the other two included minigames, Glide can be played in single player, giving it an edge with the forever lonely single player crowd. Moving on to the maps, we have 3 available for free, with more locked behind DLC that isn't on Nintendo Switch. Why won't Mojang take my money? These maps are designed insanely well, with all of their shortcuts and alternate paths keeping navigation interesting after playing the course for the millionth time. These maps are also massive and have a lot of details that you'll possibly never notice due to zooming by. I also really like how they work some of the battle maps into the tracks. It is quite literally unnecessary, yet those mad lads did it anyways. Overall, these minigames are well put together packages in terms of gameplay and presentation. Sure, the lobbies may not be as bustling as they used to be, and you could easily find and play minigames similar to these on Java Bedrock editions of the game. But at the end of the day, these minigames serve as an interesting and entertaining footnote in the history of what is easily the most popular video game of all time that I highly recommend you check out if you have the means to. This is Richard Rogue signing off. Have a good one, everybody.